All right. So, hello everyone. J3 here from Pinoy Money Academy. And in this video, I would just like to share my appreciation and say thank you to you for sticking and for subscribing to our channel. Kasi last year in December, dun ko napansin when I was checking the stats na uy, lumampas na tayo ng 50,000 subscribers dito sa channel na to. And it was not intentional. If you've been with us for quite some time now, mapapansin nyo for sure na hindi rin regular yung pag-post namin ng videos. But despite that, we've reached 50k subscribers already. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And so I'd like to give you this special full-length masterclass video on early retirement strategy planning. And this is my way of saying thank you to the YouTube community na, you know, you're here ready to watch what we put out there on the mission of spreading financial literacy and education. So, hindi ko napapatagalin pa. Here's the training. And if you like it, then check the description below to see if you'd like to get more of that. Kasi this is a training that I do every single month inside Pinoy Money Academy for our members. And once again, here you can have it for free. Enjoy it. And that's it. I'll see you inside the masterclass. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Early Retirement Strategy Planning Masterclass. And I'm so excited that you're here because in this training, you're going to learn how do you create a strategy and a plan so that you can retire early. Now, let's get started. Here is what you're going to learn today. So overall, you're going to get a plan on how to move towards early retirement. Here are the main topics. First, we're going to talk about early retirement and compare it to regular retirement. And then I'm going to share with you the 5 phases to a successful early retirement. And then you're going to learn about the 15 questions that will help you assess your readiness and help you identify the next steps needed so that you can prepare properly. And you're going to be able to create a plan that you will be confident in terms of execution. And you're also going to be given several examples throughout this training of early retirement. With that said, let us begin. I hope you have your notebooks ready, and I hope that you're ready to learn in a quiet place. With that said, let's get started. What is regular retirement? So here is the normal phase for regular retirement. You work, then you save and invest, and you prepare your retirement fund. And then when you're 65 or 60, 65 or 70, you retire. And then whatever savings you have left, whatever retirement fund you have, you budget it and you try to make it last till the end of your days. And that's the reason why I think regular retirement can be one of the most expensive and unpredictable activities that a person can go through. Because at the age when you're already 60 plus, 65, 70, 75, you have minimal income coming in, it's just the pension coming in, and your health and energy isn't what it used to be. And so when you're in that time, it's harder to deal with the risks of regular retirement. And mainly, number one, if you're thinking that the SSS or GSIS or whatever pension you have in your country will be enough, it's never going to be enough. And the reason why I'm saying that is when you study the different pensions available in all of the countries, all of them aren't enough. And the reason why the social security system is that it's just meant to be a support to whatever people have. So you need to have your own retirement plan, and whatever the government provides you won't be enough. It's never enough, no matter what country you go to. The second thing about the risk of regular retirement is that you have unpredictable and economic and political conditions. So what essentially you're doing is that you're saving up a huge amount and you hope, again, that's the word, you hope that it will last you for the rest of your days. And when you're planning out retirement, it's 30, 40, 50 years down the road. We don't know if, life expectancy has been going up. That's the trend. And so we don't know exactly what would happen when it comes to the economic or the political situations. If you're at the age already that you have lower energy, you have lower health, and you have lower momentum, then it won't be as easy to adapt to whatever the economic or political situations may bring. Okay? And so this is the reason why I really think regular retirement is very risky. The foundation of financial security is really income. And with regular retirement, you're giving up your income. You're older and you're just relying on your savings. And that is a huge, huge risk. And that's why it's important to think about or even just consider early retirement. Now, my definition of early retirement is maybe a bit different. So here is my definition of early retirement. And it's this one. You work and you save and invest. But the reason why you're saving and investing is so that eventually you can transition into work that you love. Work that you love, and that work that you love, you'll eventually grow it to earn you passive income. And as you build your passive income, you continue to do the work that you love. And I want to tell you that the early retirement is not about doing nothing while you're on the beach, you're just on vacation, and you're living on passive income. That life, it's a myth. And the reason why I'm able to say that is because eventually the passive income, if you don't become careful of it, if you don't watch it, if you don't grow it, eventually it dries out. And you're going to get bored. Why I'm able to say this is because at the age of 26, I experienced what it was like to earn passive income to sustain my needs and more. And so I was able to experience 2, 3, 5, 6 months of essentially doing nothing and just doing what I wanted. And there was a lot of unfulfillment there. And it was even harder to get back on track because you lose the momentum of not giving, of not working, of not contributing, of not adding value to society. Now, early retirement is about finding the work that you love and you make it so that it pays you well and it gives you the lifestyle you desire so you can live life at your own terms, controlling how much you work, how much you play, and most importantly, how much you give. Okay? So this is the framework of early retirement that we're talking about. It's not about doing nothing and being lazy. It's about living life at your own terms and continuing to contribute, continuing to work, and continuing to play. Now, I just want to clarify here that when I say work that you love, it doesn't mean that you're working for a company. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're working in a business. As long as it's work that you love and it's work that's adding to society. Okay? Now, let's do a quick recap here. Regular retirement, you work, save, invest, and you retire and you budget it. Early retirement, you work so that you can save and invest and you can transition to work that you love and you build your passive income and you continue to do what it is you love. And so to have a successful regular retirement, the values you need are hard work, you need to be disciplined, you need to be good at investing, you need to be frugal when you're budgeting, you need to show restraint, and you need to be healthy, essentially, because, your retirement will fail if you're unhealthy in your older years. And so this regular retirement, it's the default plan of many people and actually works. But when you shift into early retirement, you have added values that you need to develop. You need to have the value of entrepreneurship, even though you're not starting a business, but even as an employee, you need to think like a business owner. And you need to be better with your investing mindsets. You need to grow leadership. You need to be more courageous. You have to be more abundant in your thinking. So there's more values that you have to learn and develop with early retirement. And so it's a much harder path, but at the same time, also gives more joy and more fulfillment. Now, before we go into the 5 phases of early retirement, a warning. If you have already found the work that you love and it pays you well and it gives you the lifestyle you desire, even if you're working for someone else, even if you're working for a company, it's not necessarily your own business. If you have the work that you love, pays you well, and it gives you the lifestyle you desire, please don't buy into the average and the lazy person's dream of retiring and doing nothing but relaxing for the rest of their days. That's not what retirement is all about. Instead, find a way to keep working, you keep growing, and you keep giving for as long as you can, because that's the road to fulfillment, joy, and abundance. You make use of your time. And so this really is to define what early retirement is. I know this might be surprising to some people, but that kind of life, that's false early retirement. That's essentially doing nothing, probably being a burden on someone else eventually. That kind of early retirement where you're doing nothing but relaxing, that's temporary. And eventually, you're going to go back into work. And so it's not really financial security or financial freedom, but it's just a temporary escape where you live on your savings, you live on your passive income, but when it's gone, it's gone. You go back to real life. Okay? So now that we've defined early retirement, let's go into the 5 phases of early retirement. And so we have these blocks. You have the work that you're currently doing right now, and then you have the work that you love, and it's a bit lower and that's essentially the level of income that you're receiving. When you transition into anything new, you can expect that the income will be much lower. And then eventually it grows into the work that you love, but it pays you well. And it may not be as high as the income you're earning from your job right now, but it's enough for financial stability. You're not going hungry. It's enough for the family. And then eventually it transforms into the work that you love, pays you well, it gives you passive income, it gives you the lifestyle you desire. So that's the dream. Now, as you transition into these, there are 5 phases for planning a successful early retirement. So stage 1 is planning. And this is what this masterclass is all about. And what you do in the planning stage is that you eye out. Minamata mo kung ano ba yung target. What is it? What's the target here? What's the work that you love, that pays you well, that gives you passive income? What's the lifestyle that you desire? And then you also look at, well, what's the step before that? What's the work that you love and pays you well? What gives you financial stability? And then you look at the bottommost box there, the work that you love doesn't pay you well. Essentially, that's the risk. You assess the risks. And then you look at where you are right now. So that's the planning phase. The next phase is the preparation. This is from now all the way to the time when you are about to take the leap. Okay, so you prepare as much as you can, and then eventually it will come to a time when you take the leap. This is the transition phase. And this is when you're relying on your savings, your cash flow is negative, and there's a lot of instability. But eventually, you find your stability, you find your rhythm, and you build whatever it is you're starting to build, and you recover. You find financial stability. And that's the 4th phase, which is recovery. And then after that, we have scale. And that is where you grow beyond whatever self-limiting beliefs you have. So for example, if the work you have been doing, you're earning, say, 100K a month, and the work that you love pays you 20K a month only. And as you get better of that, it reaches to 70K a month. Okay? And 70K a month, it gives you financial stability. You know, it's okay. It's not what you used to be making, but it's okay. You're stable. Now, scaling is going beyond that 100K mark. And that 100K, it can be an income ceiling. It can be a mindset, a self-limiting belief that, oh, I can only earn 100K in whatever industry. And so in the scale phase, you grow beyond that. Okay? Now, let's take a look at each of the phases much closer. In phase 1, the goal is to understand and assess. Number 1, the rewards of early retirement, kaya mo siya minamata. Number 2, the path to recovery. What's financial stability? What needs to happen before you reach the goal? Number 3, you look at the risks of the transition. 4, you look at where you are today, and when you know all this, it will enable you to understand what you need to prepare for. And again, this entire masterclass is all about the planning phase. Phase 2 is the preparation. The goal here is you minimize your risks for the transition. And that can mean several things, but mainly it's these 4. Number 1, you increase your income or side income from the work that you're about to transfer to, whether it's a business or a new job or a totally new career. You increase your savings and investments. Number 2, it can be decreasing your debts and expenses. Number 3, it's about expanding your network for learning and developing key skills. And the longer time you have here for the preparation, the better and less stress you have for the rest of the phases. Okay, so phase 2, the goal is all about minimizing risks. Phase 3 is the transition. And the goal here is to find stability and rhythm. Because when you start to resign, essentially you now control your day. So if you've been working, sabihin natin 8 to 5 every day for the past Monday to Friday, things are going to change because now you wake up in the morning without an alarm clock, you don't have a schedule. And so your job during this transition is to find stability and rhythm. You're going to have to rapidly learn and develop skills and get things done, even though there's no pressure to actually get things done because you're your own boss. And you have to master time and project management already. And third thing that happens here in the transition phase is establishing sustainable routines for your health, your work, and for your family life. Because the last thing we would want to happen at this phase is that you burn out doing the work that you love. So parang ganun din, naging slave ka to your new business or to your new job or new career. Or this new passion is demanding so much of you, it takes more time away from family. It takes away from your health. So ganun din, wala din nangyari. You know, nagsakripisyo ka for nothing. So in this phase, you need to be able to take the time to establish sustainable routines for your family life, your work, and your health. And not only that, it's in this phase that you will find so many surprises in how people are also going to react. Because, for example, if your kids don't know na, if hindi sanay yung mga anak mo na nasa bahay ka, then all of a sudden, uy, nandiyan na si papa or mama sa bahay lagi. Then, uy, laro na lang lagi. And so if you don't set the routine, the boundaries, then nothing gets done. Okay? So that's what you have to deal with in the transition phase. And what I'd like to share here is that no matter how much you prepare, there will always be significant risks and changes that you will have to quickly adapt to. And that's okay. You know, part talaga yan ng transition. Now, phase 4 is the recovery. And the goal here is you make consistent action towards financial stability. And now, the task is to find and stay on the right path, to execute the right tasks with the right people while maintaining your sanity. And these things might be easy, but when you are actually in control of your own time, on your own business, there's so much that can creep into your life. You can find other opportunities that you can do. You can find 100 things that you can do to succeed. And you might start doing 50 of them. And so you're so distracted, you're not getting any progress towards financial recovery, towards financial stability. And that's why number 1 task here is to find and stay on the right path and avoid all the distractions. Okay? So by the end of phase 4, you're getting back your old financial status, but it's slightly improved because now you are the one who defined the terms of your work routines, your play routines, and the people that you're working with and the work that you're doing. Now, phase 5 is you scale beyond your previous life. This is where you go beyond your self-limiting beliefs, where you reach for and you achieve your full potential. And when it comes to your potential, it just keeps getting higher and higher as you achieve more. And that's the phase 5, scaling. Now that you know the 5 stages, the next thing to recognize and acknowledge is that everyone's journey is different. It may look different for many different people. So for example, if you're single, you don't have financial dependence, for someone's journey, it might look like this. The work you've been doing, the income is rather low, but when you transition to the work that you love, the income is still low, but it's not really a leap, more of a jump. So there's minimal risks in doing the transition, but there has to be a greater effort in overcoming the self-limiting beliefs to go beyond the income you're currently experiencing, and even greater effort to scale and move up higher. So this can be the journey of someone single, no financial dependence, minimal risks pa. But it can also look like this. You have a high income lifestyle, you're feeding a family of 6, and you're transitioning into a totally new industry. So you take your time to prepare for this big jump. It's not really a jump, it's a fall. And so what's needed is rapid progress to recover, because you're feeding a family of 6. Okay? So the journey can look like this. Now, for some people, there's actually no preparation phase. So it's a medium income lifestyle, but all of a sudden it's forced retirement. But they haven't been responsible with their money, so they fall into the ground because it's forced retirement. And so they have to find temporary work. And then from the temporary work, that's when you transition into the work that you love, and then to the work that you love that pays you well, and eventually to scaling. So everyone's journey is different. Let's acknowledge that. Whatever journey you're in, we honor that. And the way to look at now, to create your unique and custom plan, is that we have 15 questions that will assess your readiness and give you clarity on the path ahead. What is it going to look like specifically for you? And when you answer these questions, it will reveal to you the actions you need to be focusing on. So if you haven't been taking down notes, then this is the time to ready your notebook. And what you do is, as each question is presented, you copy the question and you take down notes on what that question really means. And you don't have to answer on the spot. You can actually answer later. What's important is you take down the questions and notes now. Okay? With that said, let's get started with question number 1. The first set of questions deal with the reward. And planning, we're in the planning stage, so minamata natin, what is the reward? And here's question number 1. If success was 100% guaranteed, what is the future that you are envisioning for yourself, your family, and for your work? Okay? One thing that I have to mention here is that whenever I ask this to people, a common thing that they answer, okay yan kasi hawak ko na yung oras ko. And if you're finding yourself answering that, giving quick answers like, I'd have financial freedom, I'd own my own time, let's try to go deeper. I mean, what would your days look like? Ngayon na hawak mo na yung oras mo, what would you do with your time? What would you be doing on a Monday? What would your family be doing on a Monday? What is the type of work you're doing? Who are the clients that you're dealing with? How long are you working each day? Where are you having lunch? And if you can get clear on that level of specificity, then you know exactly what it is you're fighting for, the kind of life that you're fighting for. Don't leave your answer to just saying, financial freedom. Hawak ko na yung oras ko. Wala na akong utang. Wala na akong worry. Wala na akong stress. But yes, I know. But what does that look like? You envision it. You picture it in your mind. So that's question number 1. The next question is, do you know of any mentors living that kind of life? And the reason we ask that question is really to boil down if the dream is realistic or is it based on false expectations. Now, what do I mean by that? So, for example, a lot of people who study real estate, and we're not going to go deep on real estate, but this is just an example, okay? So a lot of people who start out in real estate, they believe the dream of, oh, having passive income, bibili ka ng condo, may property, and then paparentan mo siya, and then you pay the amortization with the monthly rent that you earn, and you're relaxing, you're doing whatever it is that you want, and you're living on passive income from your rental incomes. Okay? And one of the things na madalas mini-mention dyan is, you borrow money, you get good debt so that you can buy the condo, no money down. So it's a fantasy. Now, what is reality? The reality is to become successful in real estate investing. So in real estate seminars, you have the ratio, which is the 100:3:1. Meaning, you look at 100 properties, you filter them and make an offer on just 3, and you just buy 1. Many people have the false fantasy that to get into real estate investing, they just have to look into a property and kung tingin nilang maganda, they buy that property. That's it. And that's really the wrong approach. The realistic approach is that you look at 100 properties, you just pick the best ones, you offer 3, and you just buy 1. So the level of work versus the reward is realistic. And that's what we're going for here. And that's the importance of having a mentor here. Do you know of any mentors living that kind of life? And more importantly, what was the work that they had to do? Are your goals, are your expectations of both the dream and the work required realistic? Okay, so that's question number 2. Question number 3 is, what is the cost if you don't reach for a successful early retirement? What are the financial costs? What are the physical costs? What are the emotional costs or the social costs? How would it impact your family? How would it impact your health? How would it impact your finances? What's happening there? And we ask this question to give you the sort of the necessity. Bakit importante ang early retirement for you? And the clearer you are with question number 1, you'll know that the easier it is to answer this question. What's the cost if you don't give, or if you're unable to give that kind of life for yourself and for your family and for the other people depending on you? Okay, now let me share with you some of my answers here when I was 24. So at a young age, I had a dream of working from anywhere, to have a purely online business. I wanted to have location and financial freedom. And the reason for that is I had this idea that love is a choice. And I know this kinds of medyo cheesy, but the kind of love that I wanted to give to my family was that I was always there. I was always there, available to them. And so that's why financial freedom was important to me at a young age. Actually, it's not just financial freedom, but location freedom, that wherever they go, I'm there. And the second reason why I wanted to have a purely online business was because I wanted to impact thousands of Filipinos, to teach to thousands and not hundreds. Because at that time, when I was 25, I was still working as a teacher in UP. And the class size was about 30 students to 50 students, and so on and so forth. But I wanted to have a much bigger impact. And so that was the dream. Now, for the mentors here, at a young age, I learned from Robert Kiyosaki. Then I learned of Bo Sanchez and what he's doing. And then Jomar Hilario, who's an internet marketer. And then Andy Jenkins, who's an international internet marketer. And then Brendan Burchard. And so I was seeing these people doing what I was wanting to do. And so nakikita ko both the realities of their life. Oh, they have this product. They're selling this product. And the way they're selling it is through this manner. And so it was a clear picture of reality, that that's the kind of life that they have, But also, this is the kind of work that they're doing. This is the kind of training that they're putting out there in the world. Now, what was the cost if I wasn't able to achieve this? It was frustration with self. And at that time, I remember that the feeling of not being able to do that was feeling like a hypocrite. Kasi growing up, I was reading a lot of business books. I wanted to become rich early on. But here I was 24 years old, and wala pang negosyo, wala pang nagagawang meaningful, wala pang business. And so that was the feeling. I was feeling like a hypocrite. And it's important to be vulnerable with yourself then with regards to these costs, because it gives you more motivation and more inspiration to, and more reason to why this should work and why you're going to make it work. Okay? So those were my answers. What are your answers? Now let's go to the next set of questions 4 to 6, which is defining the stability. And this is really answering the question of number 4. What situation would make you feel financially safe and secure in your decision for early retirement? And this is looking at the recovery phase. So, ano yung dapat mangyari so that you can feel more confident na, okay, it was the right decision? Is this in terms of the income you have? What kind of results would you need to get for you to be able to say na, okay na, we're stable, we're good, no one is going hungry? Okay? So that's number 4. The next set of questions, again, it's for defining stability. Number 5, what are the new things you need to learn and master to reach this stage? What is the knowledge that you need to learn? What are the skills you need to master? And who are the people that you need to connect with, convince, or influence so that you have financial stability? Question number 6 is, what are the common traps and pitfalls you need to consciously avoid while pursuing this dream? And in answering these 2 questions, it's so important that you do not guess it. Hindi tayo nanghuhula. And this goes back to the importance of having a mentor. You do not guess the answers to these questions. You need to find the important pieces of knowledge that you have to learn, the skills you have to focus on, and the people you have to reach. And the way to find out the right answer to these is by asking or finding a mentor. Now, question number 6 is equally important kasi when you're in the recovery phase, again, ang daming opportunities na pwedeng pumasok sa'yo. You're gonna think of 100 different ideas you can do for the week, for the month, and so on and so forth. And so if you don't know what are the common traps and pitfalls that you need to consciously avoid, you'll end up doing them. Masya-shiny object syndrome ka. And so again, you do not guess this. Now, let me share with you kung ano yung mga naging sagot ko in these cases. So, when I was 24, the safety there, how I defined it, what would make me feel safe was that at that time, when I was still teaching, I was earning 18,000 a month from my job. But if I started earning 13,000 a month from this new business, from the work that I was loving, then I would be okay. So it's not necessarily the same amount. And I know it can be different for your case, but it's possible na hindi siya same amount. Can be lower, can be a bit higher. But for me, safety was 13,000 pesos. Okay? Now, what are the things that I needed to learn? As I was following my mentors, I was discovering things about internet marketing, how to set up web pages, affiliate marketing, blogging, video marketing, creating lead magnets, and having to find a partner for these things that I found to be overwhelming. So, yun yung mga things, yun yung skills, knowledge, and people. Now, in the courses that I was consuming, I learned there also to avoid social media spamming. Ito yung post ka ng post, wala naman pinupuntahan yung post, or wala ka pang tinatawag na funnel or a process by which you could get customers. And early on, I learned how to avoid that. So I never did it. it was a conscious effort. Even though I was seeing a lot of other people do it na post ng post, I was avoiding it. Kasi alam kong hindi pa yun yung right time. It wasn't the right phase. Now, I won't go deep into, online marketing and stuff, but essentially for whatever it is that you're trying to do, there are also these same things. What are the things you need to learn and what are the things you need to avoid? So another example here is yung business logo design. I was thinking initially na, importante yan kasi syempre yan yung business mo, yan yung brand mo. But at the end of the day, sabi nung mentor na hindi pala yan importante. Huwag mo munang gawin yan. Focus on different things. And so it's so important you learn how to avoid, you identify what it is you need to avoid as well. Okay? Now, let's go to the next set of questions. And these are the questions for understanding the transition that you're about to go through. And so here, we now seek to understand the risks. Question number 7 is, what would happen if you resigned now? How would it affect you, your family, and your financial dependents? What would happen? And try to answer this with the same level of clarity that you have with your dream. So if you succeeded 100%, you're living the life. Ito naman, what would happen right now if biglang nawala ng income? What would that look like? What would your days look like? What would your finances look like? And you try to picture it out. And I know it might be hard and I know it might be scary, but we need to face this risk. It's not necessarily na yan yung mangyayari, yan yung gugustuhin mong mangyari, but it's just to understand what are the risks. And so we do that for the eventuality that we can minimize these risks. Now, the next question here is, how much time would you have left to make things work before people go hungry, desperate, and crazy? And one way to answer this is if you review your financial status. So, for example, if you are living on 40,000 pesos a month and your savings is 400,000 pesos. So, a simple way to compute that is 400K divided by your monthly expenses, 40K, then it means you have 10 months to figure things out before people go hungry. Okay? So that's how you answer number 8. How much time would you have left to make things work before people go hungry, desperate, or crazy? Now, computing that is a bit harder if you're dealing with health reasons or some other risk that's not financial, or if it's a contract ending or things like that, then that would be the time limit, diba? But still, we answer, how much time would you have left to figure things out during this transition phase? The next question, what would be the absolute worst case scenario? So this is different from question 7, what would happen if you resigned now? What's the worst case scenario? Ano yung pinakamalalang mangyari? And I know, again, this is a scary answer to think about, but it's required so that you understand the risks. Because the next question after that is, if that happens, what's plan Z for you and your family? Siyempre, pag nangyaring worst case scenario, you would react to it. Hindi naman papabayaan mo lang, di ba? So what's plan Z? And if you have the worst case scenario covered, if there's a plan for that, and that plan Z might be tough, it might be so unattractive, it might involve being buried into debts, it might involve having to go back abroad, or it might have to involve, letting some people down, then at least okay, that's the worst case scenario and that's the plan for it. At the end of the day, buhay ka pa rin, humihinga ka, you can recover. Okay? So this is the importance of understanding the risks. When you have answered questions 7 to 10, so you already understand the risks. Oh, by the way, so here was my answers when I was 24 and about to resign. So what would be the impact if I resigned? Well, I would have 0 income. I'd continue living with my parents back then. And that was really the impact. Now, the duration, how much time did I have? At that time, I computed that I needed to have 13,000 a month to survive. Thankfully, I was preparing already for it for a long time. So At that time, meron akong 140,000 pesos in savings. Plus, may 5 more months to prepare and expand my business network and my skills. So in total, 140 divided by 13, that's about 13 months full-time to make things work. So duration, it was a lot. Now, the worst case scenario in the plan Z was that I fail, I run out of the money, naubos yung for 140,000, mapunta sa wala, and when that happens, 13 months elapse, then I find other work. And to me at that time, parang, okay, not so bad. Okay, so these are the answers that you also try to figure out for yourself. Okay, now let's head on to the next set of questions which deal with the preparation. So here are the questions. What kind of preparation needs to happen in terms of your income and side income, into your debts and expenses, into your savings and investments, and the skills in the people, so that you'll have a 51%, 80%, or 95% confidence to take the leap, to resign and retire early. The next question after that is, for each preparation, how long would it take? And then what's a reasonable time frame for you? So the way to approach this is you create a table that looks like this. So over here to the left side, you have income per month, side income, expenses, total debts, total savings, skills and knowledge, people, how long, and what's reasonable. And then, so in each column, you now put your situation now on the leftmost side, and then followed by the column for 51% confidence, then 80% confidence, and 95% confidence. Now, let me explain kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng 51% confidence. 51% confidence is, yes, hindi ka sigurado, but at the same time, there's a part of you, there's a greater part of you na, sige, kaya to. Okay? Because you will never have 100% confidence. Let's acknowledge that. There will always be risks. You will always have your fears. But let's identify na yung status na ano yung 51% confidence. And ano naman yung a little better, you're feeling 80% na, sige, kaya to. And 95% is you're feeling na, okay, 95% kaya to. And I know those are really vague, but that's the best way to approach this. Dealing with and understanding and acknowledging na 100% is never going to happen. Okay? So, here is how you answered it. First, you answer kung ano yung income mo per month. What's your situation now? Side income per month, monthly expenses, total debt, savings, skills and knowledge, people, how long? And then you ask yourself, okay, what's 51% confidence here? Fill out those columns. What needs to happen para maging 80% yung confidence ko? Kapag ganito na yung status ko, I'd be 80% sure. And then, what's 95% confidence? And then for each one, you answer, how long will it take to prepare for those? Okay? So, of course, the situation now, it's going to be different kapag 51% na yan, kapag 80%, 95%. So, how long will it take? How many months? How many years to reach each of those situations? And then finally, when you have that, you answer, okay, what's reasonable? Based on my goals, based on everything that's happening to me in my life, what's a reasonable time frame to take the leap? Should I take the leap at 51%, 80%, 95%? It's up to you. What's reasonable? That's the key word. So let me now give you an example here. So let's say this family, the situation now is this person is earning 50,000 a month. Situation right now, he has zero side income in the work that he loves or work that he wants to do. So zero results pa. His monthly expenses are 45,000. He has total debts amounting to 120,000. He has savings, an emergency fund of 50,000. And then skills and knowledge to acquire, not yet sure. Hindi niya pa talaga alam kung papaano. And when it comes to the people around him, his spouse doesn't know yet kung, his spouse doesn't know that he has a dream of retiring early. And how long? Well, we leave that blank. Doesn't apply. Now, for this person, ano yung magbibigay sa kanya ng 51% confidence? Well, maybe it could look something like this. So the income per month is still the same. There's still no income from the side business. But the monthly expenses have decreased to 40,000. And total debts, wala na. So nabayaran niya na yung utang, and because of that, he's a little bit more confident to take the leap. And in terms of the skills and knowledge, nakapag-enroll na siya sa isang business course. And nasabi na rin niya sa asawa niya, and the spouse is supportive. So how long would that take? Just a quick estimate, sabihin natin 1 year. So that's the 51% confidence situation. Now, next, what would be better? Ano yung 80% confidence? Okay. So in that case, ang difference is 50K pa rin yung income, pero the side income per month is may nasimula na. Kumita na siya ng 5,000 pesos per month. And ganun pa rin, wala pa rin utang. And his total savings and investments have increased to 120,000. And in terms of his skills and knowledge, meron na siyang sinusundan na business course, plus nakapagbenta na siya. And for the people, meron na rin siyang business partner. How long would that take? Maybe 2 years. So that's the answer. Again, this is just an example. Now, 95% confidence. Ano kaya itsura niyan? Magiging super sure na ako, 95% sure kapag ito yung situation. Kumikita na ng 50,000, again, from my current job, and then on top of that, meron pang side income per month na 30,000 pesos already. Monthly expenses, 40K pa rin, and yung total na naipon ay 240,000 na. And with that 240,000, I could live for 6 months na, during this transition phase na maganda. Okay? So, dito, sa skills and knowledge, may business course na siyang sinusunod, may regular sales na siya, and may 1 employee na siya with his partner. And how long is that gonna take? 3 years. And so, with these varying levels of confidence, we now ask this person, okay, based on what you're seeing here, what is reasonable for you? And again, this is just an example. So let's say he says 2 years na meron ng business course, wala ng utang, meron ng first sale, may business partner na. That would be the end of the preparation phase. Kapag in-identify mo na, okay, I'm okay at 80% confidence, that seems reasonable for me, then go. That will mark the end of the preparation phase. No need to go for 95% confidence if you yourself are happy with the reasonable na, okay, 80% pwede na. And some people, they might be even more willing to take the risks kasi mas mababa yung risk na kahit 51% confidence, sige, go. Okay? What's important is you understand where you are. You assess where you are and what would work for you. Where are you comfortable with? Okay? So let me now share with you my answers when I was 24. So at that time, I already shared I was teaching in UP, earning 18K a month, wala pang kinikita from the side income. My monthly expenses was about 13,000 pesos. Walang utang, but I had saved up already and I had knowledge in stocks investing and in teaching kasi teaching was my work. Now, in terms of the people, my parents were highly disagreeable with me resigning and pursuing business agad-agad. Back then, admittedly, being single with no kids and no financial dependence yet, I didn't think about the 51 or 80% confidence anymore. But looking back, this was the logic that I was following since I got my first job. And for me, taking the leap felt natural because I had been planning for it for years already, unintentionally. So in my first job pa lang, I realized na, okay, I went into teaching because I wanted to have the time to start a business. And so, yung pag-manage ko rin ng finances ko is nag-iipon ako. Kaya meron ng capital na nakaset aside. And because of lots of preparation, it felt natural for me to have more confidence in taking the leap. Okay? So, my 95% confidence was actually horrible. If you look at it now, na zero income, yung side income per month pa lang was just 500 pesos, meaning I was going for it even though na konti pa lang talaga yung kinikita. And my monthly expenses was 13K and my total savings and investments would be at around 20K. And I had an online marketing course to follow and the business partner na nag-okay na. Okay, so how long would that take? At the time when I made this decision, I had 6 months to prepare. And for me, what was reasonable back then was the same thing. na as when the school year ended, doon na. That was the end of it. So I decided ng November 2011 and I would resign ng May 2012. Okay? So this was my situation. And I'd like to share with you here just a snippet to give you a bit on the logic on what was happening back there. So since my parents were disagreeable, ayaw nila yung decision, hindi nila sinusupport yung decision na mag-resign ako and itigil ko yung pag-pursue ng master's degree ko. And so I wrote them a letter. And it was a 7-page letter. And I want to read to you the part on, what was going on in my mind back then. And so ito yung part of the letter na sinulat ko sa kanila na, okay, so I plan on resigning at the end of May 2012. This will give me 5 months to save up money from teaching and consulting. So I gave this letter to them near Christmas. Okay, so this will also allow me to focus on building my network and other consulting projects after I resign. My estimated living expenses after resignation are $13,000 a month. This means that to survive for 6 months, assuming no income sources, I need to be able to save up $7,000 to $8,000. I'm happy to say that I already have $140,000 plus in savings. That's more than enough to live and still buy you birthday and Christmas gifts. So this was the letter I wrote to them, and even though I gave them this letter, disagreeable pa rin sila, but I had already made up my mind na, okay, I was doing this and here was the plan. Okay? Now, I know your situation is going to be different, and this is the way to assess it. Again, you build out this table in your notebook and you write your situation now. Then what's 51% confidence? How long would that take? 80%? How long? 95%? How long? And really the importance of doing this is that you get to face the unknown. Maraming tao unable to take the leap because they haven't done this assessment na, ano ba yung, what would make me feel confident in making this decision? You see? So by doing this, you're now forced to confront your fears. And at the end of it, you answer what's reasonable. Let's now do a recap of the 5 phases. So we have done the planning phase. When you answer these 15 questions, essentially, minata mo na what's the goal, what's financial stability, what are the risks, and then where you are right now. And once you've identified these targets, then you can now prepare. Work towards your preparation so that you minimize the risks during your transition and you will be able to recover as fast as possible. And that will eventually lead into scaling and going beyond your current lifestyle and having the lifestyle that you desire. Okay, what are the next steps? After you answer the 15 questions, let's now identify what do you need to implement with regards to your income, inside income, expenses and lifestyle, your debt, savings and investments, knowledge, skills, what do you need to do in terms of other people, and other conditions that you might have, so that you'll have enough reasonable confidence to take the leap. Again, that's the keyword. It's not 100% confidence, just reasonable confidence for you to take the leap. Now, as we end this training, I'd like to share with you the number one thing that will stop you, and that's fear of the unknown. And that's why we do this planning, we do this assessment, even though it's hard, even though you might not have all the information you need right now, there's a lot of unknowns. And you might be thinking, can you really do it? How will your spouse or partner or family react? Can you even make it? Is it even possible? Now, as you ask yourself these questions and as you deal with the unknowns, know this. You can do it. The path won't be easy. You won't have 100% of the answers. You'll never have 100% of the answers. But believe yourself that you can figure things out. Kaya mong pag-aralan, kaya mong mag-adapt. Trust your guts, trust your instinct, trust your ability to figure things out. And when you do that, even though the path won't be easy, the path will be uncertain, at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it for you, your family, and the people that you'll inspire and help when you're doing the work that you love. And with that said, that's the end of the training. I hope you learned a lot from this. I wish you well as you do the assessments, and I wish you a happy, meaningful, and successful early retirement.